What's your problem, Ricky?
Just yeah, 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 yeah. I found I know I don't the people maybe people's judgment about me. I should think about it, and they're 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 not just think it too much, like to care about it. But recently I found before I thought I'm not care about people's judgment, bad about me. But recently I found I actually care about it, and and it kind of infect me, like when I continue to do something, and I will think about the people who talk about that, and it stopped me doing that. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay.
So,
Actually, Ricky, in one sense, this is probably almost the biggest issue of humanity. You know, it's like,
yeah.
are we looking good or not? You know,
Oh
uh,
yeah. Yeah.
and people go back and forth about, oh, I care too much what other people think, and then other people, well, I don't care anything about what other people think. Some people even say that. I don't care what people think of me, and I think both are a problem. You know, um,
Uh-huh.
it's built. I think it's built into our DNA that we care or have concern. I mean, some people we may not care about. Like some people, we might even want to have them hate us. Oh, that can happen sometimes. But in general, we like to be liked, right? And
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
approved of, or especially not disapproved of, or not to be thought as weird or strange, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
To have a sense that people include us and we belong. You know, um, those are in our DNA and certainly in our culture. Um, but the issue becomes, what are you willing to sacrifice for that? And is it a good deal? Because you can't, even if you did everything you thought you could to have people think well of you, people could still think badly of you. And if some people thought well of you, then another group might think badly of you, right?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's like an impossible thing to certainly win all the time. Uh, and even with the select group, you can't guarantee how you're uh, necessarily going to occur for them. And a lot of us, we don't even really check. We just have an imagination. Oh, they're going to be upset with me, or they're going to think I'm strange or weird if I do this or that, right? But do
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
but do we really know or have good evidence that they're going to think that way? Most of the time we don't. We just make it up. Oh, well, people in the culture who don't do this or don't do that, then they're going to be think people are, and sure, some people may think that, but other people may not, you know. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
especially when cultures are changing, like the Chinese culture is changing very fast. So what's like looks good to an older person's not going to look good to a younger person, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
Or what's going to look good in one culture is not going to look good in another culture. Um, so it's not an issue of caring or not caring. It's an issue of um, being willing, depending upon the circumstance, for people to think whatever they think, or to be upset with you, or to think you're strange or weird or whatever, uh, looking short term and long term in your relationship with them in your life, and with your number one job is to take care of yourself,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I actually, for myself, not saying other people should do this, is I just pretty much admit I am weird, I am strange. uh, uh, some ways maybe I'm not completely weird. I do wear clothes, I I don't go around naked, and I do try to keep my hair looking nice, uh, but and and I have even a sort of a pride of myself that um, sure, I do what I can to have a best relationship with people. But if it doesn't work out, if we can't find a way, if we're supposed to be happy together, then I'm willing to either go different ways or for them to even think badly of me, or be upset with me, especially short term, because sometimes people will get upset with you short term, but in the longer term, they might even admit, "Oh, I'm so glad you didn't get influenced by me being upset with you." You know,
Right, right, right. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so, guess what? We get back to Maya. I'm so scared. They're not gonna think this of me or that of me, whatever. Yeah, and pat yourself on the back. It doesn't mean that you might be happy to do whatever to do to look a certain way, but you don't feel like you're sacrificing yourself. Like in the big picture, you're okay with it, and you're still taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Mhm. And you're willing to risk that you might not look good sometimes, or you might, or, or maybe you looked better to somebody before, but less so now.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
um, thoughts, comments, feedback, questions?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, but I know it, but I found sometimes, I may be afraid. What if the people said is right? Is he just gave me some advice, but with not great expression, like they just want give me a hint or cute cue, but people just express their way sometimes really bad, like they just when they tell you about that, it seems like it's a wrong thing they want to express in another way, not the way he talked with you. So yeah, sometimes I find my parents want to give me some advice, like maybe you want to think more, something like it, but they just use a really a judgment way, and I actually afraid it, and so I I refused to listen it. I refused to think about it. Then I found maybe later I found that maybe it's better to think about it more. So my question is how to how to you know um, how to identify that. I mean, it's a pure judgment, or it's kind of they want to give some advice, and
Well, sometimes something can be just pure judgmental, but usually judgment and advice, or suggestion, whatever, like they're basically saying, for whatever reason we think you might want to consider this, or you maybe should do this compared to that. So but it comes across in a blaming way, or they're going to blame you if you don't do that, or if you haven't been doing that,
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so it's really helpful because sometimes it's hard to hear, like you indicated, it's hard to hear that there may be some good suggestions in there to consider for yourself,
Yeah, yeah,
uh, and also how to respond to them. Like if it might be possible to respond to them and say, hey, I can tell maybe you're upset with me, or you think that I didn't do the right thing, and I'd like to see, I'd like to examine what you're suggesting for me to see whether it might be a good thing or not. Could you maybe say that in a different way? Maybe give me more details, instead of the reaction of just like withdrawal and try to protect your autonomy, because it's like you're in a rebellion mode,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's and you, but if you can really get there, you don't need to rebel, and you can do what you want. You can make your own choices. That you've got all the power. You don't
Yeah.
need to defend anything, and if you can be that, then you can actually respond in a way that's probably going to be much better for you, for them, and your relationship with them.
Oh,
What do
yeah,
you
yeah,
think?
yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, but I just, to maybe because I took care about that, so I just forgot to know more details. So that then induce another problem. Yeah.
Yeah, and after you examine the details or get whatever information they may try to be pointed out, it's then your choice. You can decide, oh, that makes some sense, and you could change your behavior some, or you could still decide, no, I think I'm happy to know what they think and whatever, and I've examined it enough to know that I'm just going to continue to do the way I've done before, and
Yeah.
you have all that power. No way they can. Yeah, parents and other people have the tendency they want to use their blame or their withdrawal of approval to try to get other people to do what they want.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but they don't have any power unless you give it to them in the way you're thinking actually incorrectly about the power that you have. There's nothing to defend against.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Does that fit?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it's possible just to listen. Yeah, because see, we collapse obeying and listening.
Yeah,
Obeying and listening are two totally distinct,
yeah,
and
yeah.
because we collapse them, it's often hard for us to really listen because we feel like, oh my God, if I listen, then I have to obey. No, you can fully listen and not obey anything,
Yeah. Yeah.
And even if you agree with what they say and you decide to do it, you're still not obeying. You're just, oh, thank you for the new information or new perspective, And so it's like if you're not obeying them, you're agreeing with them and you're aligning with them, but you're not obeying them because you're in charge of your life.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. Anything else to be complete on that?
No, no, that's great. Yeah.
Okay. Great topics.